What's up? They're telling my followers, your followers actually. Do I have to invite myself? Are we on the live?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. All right. You have no requests. Is it working? There we go. Gotta turn it back. There we go. How do you mute it? I think we're good now. Awesome. Okay. So where's the volume switch? Go all the way down. All right. Vintage Razor Roadshow. But I'm wearing an Aylesworth shirt because it's the only Razor shirt that I have. So we're gonna today go through. It's mostly going to be my collection of razors, so that Crystal and Jason said that I have to take them home because they're in Crystal's way, and Jason doesn't want the responsibility of having my stuff here. So we'll go through most of mine today, and then we'll go through. If we have time, we'll go through some of Jason's. He's got a much larger collection of more obscure stuff, and then. We were talking earlier, we'd like to do a show just based around shicks on their own. So we're not going to cover any injectors today. We're going to try and maybe get DK to do a show with us about injectors. So today is going to be mostly Gillette, which I have a bunch of. So if there's any questions, I don't know if Crystal's watching to see if anyone has any questions that I miss. So what I'm going to do is I'll open it here, and then I'll set it down here so that everyone can see the razor itself. And then I'll talk about it a little bit. So we have a 1904 Gillette double ring. We'll set that there. Yeah. Oh, you're getting a good view of the hands. So that's one of the first double edge razors ever made. Gillette started making razors in, I believe, 1903. So 1904 is pretty early. This particular one has a serial number and the patent date on it, which puts it towards the end of 1904 because the patent date is November of 1904. So it's maybe one of the earliest. Hey, my wife's here. Hey, baby. It's maybe one of the earliest serial numbered Gillette double rings that there is. So in these old ones, the serial number is usually on the barrel instead of on the base plate. You'll see some later where you'll see the serial numbers on the base plate. So that's in 1904. Pretty good shape for as old as it is. I've seen much better and I've seen much worse. So, but it's a user. I've used it. Angelo used it. Gardner used it. I don't know if Jason used it or not. He says no. So it's a nice piece. Missing some plating, but who isn't at 120 some odd years old, right? Okay. Any questions? Feel free to ask. I can slow down on some of these if you'd like, or if you want a different view of it, we can do that as well. So some of these, I just don't remember the year that they were made. We don't have a serial number list sitting right next to us, so I'll just do the best I can to ballpark. So this is a 19, I believe, 17 Gillette single ring. So the single rings came after the double rings. There's specific names that Gillette had for them, and I just don't remember what they are. So there's that. There we go. That's a really nice piece. It has, on the bottom of the base plate, it has a G inside of a D, which from one of the groups I'm in on Facebook, the vast majority of people claim that that denotes that it was made for the French market. So if you see a Gillette single ring with a G inside of a D, that's, I guess, what that means. It's pretty much like the double ring, except it only has one ring right there, whereas the double ring has two. But serial numbers. Yep, serial numbers. So they moved the serial number to the base plate now after the double ring. So that's where you'll find most of the ones that are serial numbered from Gillette, unless it's like a double ring or maybe even an early single ring, will be those will be on the barrel, and then they moved it to the base plate, and then of course they moved later in the 50s to the date code system. So there you see the difference between the two rings at the top and the one ring at the top. So that denotes double ring and single ring, as they're commonly known as. There we go. Okay, so those are teens. Here's it. I think the only other one I have from the teens will be this late 19 teens, maybe 19, 17, 18. Maybe it's a 19. Anyways, it's a property of U.S. Army khaki set from World War I. This particular one has the mirror and both. There goes the mirror, and it has. Let me set it down. And it has both of these thumbtacks. So usually the thumbtacks are, at least one of them is missing, and those were used to. So you would take a thumbtack and you would hang the mirror. Let me point the mirror at myself, and you could thumbtack it to a tree so that you had a mirror to shape in. So that's why that's there. And then the bottom of the base plate on this particular one, some of them will say made in USA. This one in particular says property of U.S. Army. The case is in exceptional condition. The razor is in exceptional condition. Not many nicer ones that I've seen. Although I did recently see somebody bought one that has like the original burlap sack that they came in and all that stuff. So, you know, those are rare. Like, you're usually not going to jump onto eBay and find one of those for $70. So those are, you know, the ones that came in the original boxes. Usually the collectors have snagged all of those up. But that's a nice World War I example of khaki razor. This particular one, I've seen it where the case and the mirror say property of U.S. Army. The case and the mirror say made in the USA. This one, the mirror says property of U.S. Army, but the case says made in the USA. You know, wartime, they just kind of slap things together as they can to get them out to the troops. So who knows if that's, some people will claim, oh, it's not 100% original, but, you know, I wasn't there in 1917, 1918 when they were making them, so how do I know? Okay. We're in the 19 teens still. I got these. So we'll go. I don't know if this is even a Gillette. I found it on eBay and bought it. It kind of looks like a Canadian pocket set. Smooth handle, smooth ball. It's the same size as a pocket edition, which I will, I'll bring one out for like, it's not the same, but for size contrast. Same size handle. So who knows? It doesn't say, the Canadian ones didn't say Gillette on them. What they would, the Canadian pocket editions would have just a serial number here that started with a particular letter, and that's how you knew. So I don't know who made this. Maybe it was Gillette, maybe it wasn't. I have no idea, but it's a cool piece, so I keep it. So there's that. So the pocket editions, I have 3 of them. So this is a shell bottom, don't know the year. These were all 19 teens, possibly going into the early 1920s. Let me try and get this glare off of this. It's glaring up. Like every time I open it, it's like, let me flip that over and see if that helps. Yeah, maybe. So the pocket editions were, if you guys follow Razor Emporium on YouTube, Matt Pisarcik has a whole series. He has videos on a lot of this stuff. So if you want more information on anything in particular, usually Matt Pisarcik on the Razor Emporium YouTube will have an episode about it. I have many, many arms, Scott. I'm like an octopus over here. So that's like a shell bottom, 2-ring, basic plain case, pocket edition, and then we have the this set here, which will be referred to as the Empire pocket edition. And the Empire, you can tell by the handle, and then the ornate case. Let me move this up just a little. There we go. So the Empire has this ornate design on the case. There are different ornate designs on these pocket edition cases, but this one matches the handle, so that's how you can tell it's an Empire. And it's a pretty cool piece as well. And these, like most of the pocket editions, they came in silver and gold. There's some that like the case would be gunmetal, which is pretty rare. Again, Matt Pisarcik covers most of the pocket edition stuff. Maybe one that I haven't seen him cover it'll be the next one, and it's really only just the case, which is I don't see many. I've seen maybe one other of the case that I'm going to show next. So these are all pocket editions because they fit in your pocket back in the 19 teens, so you could carry it with you and shave on the train or whatever traveling. Sorry, my voice is kind of wrecked at the moment. Too much screaming lyrics in the car, I guess. Okay, so this is another pocket edition. Similar to the shell bottom, this has 1 ring at the top, whereas the other one has 2 rings at the top. But what makes this one rare is the pigskin case. They had, I think, 3 different versions of like leather cases, but you rarely ever see any of the leather cases for the pocket editions. So that's a pigskin case. I happened upon it on eBay and picked it up right away just because I knew when I saw it how rare it was. So it's a cool piece to own. The case is really in this one. The case holds more value than the razor. So there's instances with Gillette where the case will hold more value than the razor. This being one of them. The other one being the original lithograph tin from the original double ring. The case is far more rare than the razor itself. And then of course, if I make a mistake and somebody knows I did, tell me I'm an idiot, and I will correct it. Let me see. We have have you or Kim Gray wants to know, have you or Jason shaved with these? So these ones that we're going through now are my collection. I'm not sure if Jason borrowed any of them. I told him he was free to do so. He's shaking his head no again. I have shaved in my collection that you're going to see. I have shaved with probably 98% of them, at least once. Some of them I don't shave with, again, because they're just way too aggressive for head shaves. So yes, I have shaved with at least most of the ones you're going to see from my collection today. And then, are these for sale? No, they are my personal collection. They are not for sale. If they ever go up for sale, unless it's a rare one that I have no idea what the value is, those will go to eBay if I ever sell them. The ones that I know the value will probably be sold through the razor company, but they are not for sale today. Sorry to disappoint. Okay. So those are the pocket editions. We'll go into the, what the hell are these called? Tuckaways. So I have 3 Tuckaways. I have a silver Tuckaway. That particular one has no serial number on it, which I think means it was made within like a few months of late 1928 maybe, I forget. There's the gold version of it. And then this is I forgot what I said this was. I forget the name of that one. But those are all like Tuckaways, very small cases, easily fit in your pocket for travel. They, even today would probably make a great travel razor. The handle is on the shorter side compared to like this old ball and old type. You can see like the length of the handle. Let me get that into view there. So if you put that next to that one, you can see that the handle is a little bit shorter. So the handles are shorter on those, but they're good for travel. So they just tuck away in your pocket. So those are cool. I got the silver, the gold, and then the, I can't remember the name of this one. It has a name for it, but I just don't remember. So those are all Tuckaways. And I've shaved with all three of those, actually, yeah. If I see one that I know I didn't shave with, I'll let you know, Kim, if I didn't shave with it. And then maybe I will next week. Who knows? All right, another question. How long have you been collecting from shaving mat? So I started really collecting right before the pandemic. And since I was at home and bored, I would go on eBay and I would buy like razors by like the small lot. And then I would sell the ones that I knew that I was buying them to just kind of make extra money, and then get my money back and then some, and then I would keep the ones that I wanted to keep. So that just like a continuous cycle. I would buy, keep a couple, sell the rest, and then buy some more, keep a couple, sell the rest, and always made my money back. So, or most of the time I made my money back. So here is we're going into the 1920s. So we have let's see, got this one too. So we have a Richwood, denoted by, see these two that I'm going to show are the exact same razor. The only way you can tell what they are is by the case. So that's in a wood case, and that's a Richwood. And then this is a new standard, which is exactly the same, but the case says new standard, so it's a new standard. So these are kind of like ornate Art Deco type handles, kind of like the pocket editions. These have a nice Art Deco diamond pattern. Oh, and here we go. Here's another one that's exactly the same. Same razor, different case. This one has a cool elevator case, so I'll try and get it, or maybe Jason can. So it's an elevator case, so as you open it, the bottom lifts and raises the razor up so that you can grab it. So that's a Bostonian. I had one of those, and I gave it away at Christmas time on the TRC show. So those are cool. I like the old Art Deco type handles. They just look cool. Some of those have original blades in them, and some of them don't. It's been so long since I've opened some of those blade cases that I don't know what's in there. So then, another one from the 20s is a big fellow. Comes in a nice wood case like the Richwood, but that it's the big fellow because it is a big fellow. So if you compare that to like a normal size Gillette, it's just it's a monster. So that's compared to a Gillette Tech. So the handle is long, and it looks like a single ring. So if you saw one in a picture, you would think maybe it's a single ring, but the handle is much longer and beefier than a single ring is. So, but it opens the same way, and I believe that will have the serial number on the head, like the single rings. So serial numbers is, so if you go to like Razor Emporium, Matt has a list of all of the serial numbers, and you can find out what year something was made by the serial number or the date code. So you find the serial number on your old Gillette, and then you compare it to the list that he has, and then it will be, it'll give you the year that it was made if it has a serial number. The date code you can narrow down to the quarter of the year. The serial number you can just really get the year, and try and guess. All right, it's in the higher serial numbers from that year, so maybe it's towards the end of the year, but you really don't know. Big Papa Moore needs a big fellow. He does. You need a big fellow and a big boy. I used to have a big boy, but I sold it. We'll get away from Gillette just for this one, just because everyone thought it was so cool when I used it the other day. So this is a Seagull Unimatic 1931. I believe it to be the first model they ever made. So you can, maybe Jason can open it. So you just unscrew it as much as you can, and then you kind of twist the handle and push it up. Yeah. So that's, those are just cool looking. Yeah. So I got that the other day, and I never had a Seagull, so I wanted to try one. And then I cut a blade to fit around the, it took proprietary blades, kind of like Gillette did back in the day, but you can use modern blades, but you have to modify the inside. So my first attempt at that was a hack job, but I got it to work, so it shaved. That's all you can really ask for, I guess. So it was kind of cool. But some of those Seagulls are pretty rare. I just actually saw a Seagull that's a different model from this. I was watching it the other day, and actually I was texting with Jason as it was ending, and it jumped up from like $50 to $150, and then in the last second it went from like $150. It jumped all the way up to $212. So some of them, I guess, are pretty valuable. So you see that Seagull, and then this these are Jason's Seagulls. So you have the silver ones, the gold ones. I don't know a whole lot about these either. Are these all these ones are the same? No, they're different.
They're different.
These are all different. So they made a bunch of different models of them.
Yeah, and these by this time it was mechanical.
Yeah, those
twist action.
I think that maybe this 1931 is the only one they had where you had to actually push the knurling up to get the mechanism to open. After that, they went to the twist open. I may not be 100% accurate on that because I don't know a lot about Seagulls, but cool razors nonetheless. If you can find original blades in shaveable condition, or you can always modify. I used cuticle scissors and just cut out the inside. It was really flimsy, but once I tightened the handle down, then it seemed like it was okay. It clamped the blade down fine, and it shaved fine, so I was happy just to get a shave with it. Will I use it all the time? Probably not, because it's not really fun cutting the inside of the blade out. Techmatic. So that's Seagulls. I don't know which one goes with which.
I got it.
So back to Gillette, we're going into, what are we in, the 1920s?
I'm not paying attention.
Very nice. So this is old type ball end tech. I think this is from the 20s, but this is not really an old type ball end handle. This is actually a Goodwill. There's many different versions of the Goodwill. I have 2 of them. I don't know where the other one is actually. No, I do know where it is. It's right here. So here's one version of the Goodwill, and it's got the Art Deco with the holes in the top cap. And then you have, this is another version of a Goodwill, just a regular cap. But then when you take it apart, you can see that the studs are there for this. So that's how you can tell, like if you, there we go. That's how you can tell if it's a Goodwill. And as far as open combs go, in all of my collection, not even just vintage, but even like modern open combs, I use this. I probably shave with this more than any other, for sure more than any other vintage razor that I have. This is the smoothest open comb and one of the smoothest razors in general that I've ever shaved my head with. So I love this razor. I'll probably, if I got rid of most of my vintage collection, this would always stay, just because of just because I like it. And then here's what the box would look like. It says Goodwill, the Goodwill in the red, and then new Gillette. So I think that's after they changed the base plate to the new style. More questions? I'm liking this. Let's see what we got. Is 125, let's see, Addison Road. Is $125 Canadian a fair price for a vintage Gillette Aristocrat? Well, it's hard to say. It could be, depends on the Aristocrat, and it depends on the condition of the Aristocrat. Is the Aristocrat in the original case? Is the plating all present? There's a lot of variables that go into value. So Gillette made a bunch of different Aristocrats, and I'll actually do, when I get to the Aristocrats, I'll do all those in a row so you can see that they've changed through the years. But condition is everything. Condition and rarity. So some of them will be harder to find than others. So it's hard to pinpoint a price on just saying Aristocrat alone. I would have to know exactly which one and what condition it's in. Okay. Do you generally display these? All right. Kim Gray asks a really good question. Do you generally display these at home or put them in storage? I've said this many times on lives before. Let me get out my old shitty box full of vintage razors. I keep them in an old chip box, and they just kind of like lay around in this old chip box, which is probably not the best way, you know, to store a few $1,000s worth of vintage razors, but I'm an idiot. So there they are. All right, next question. Tiki, another Michigan guy. Are some of these, let's see, are some of these Gillette being in nice cases used for, let's say, more of an upper class user? Perhaps. The price back in the day, I guess, would have dictated who could afford it and who couldn't. So some of these, although the price tag may say $5, for example, that pigskin pocket edition, I believe, sold for $9 in the early 19 teens. That was a lot of money. So yeah, I would say that the guy working at the grocery store was not buying that $9 Gillette when that's probably what he made all week. So yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. And I think, okay, so we're caught up on questions. So we're gonna do Senator and Sheraton. So that it's the same razor. So one of them is nickel plated, one of them is gold plated. So the nickel plated one is the Senator, the gold plated one is the Sheraton. The Sheraton came in this nice brown presentation box. For some reason, the Senator came in a cardboard box. The cardboard box is a lot harder to find than this case. So if you see a Senator inside of the original cardboard box, it's probably worth more than this Sheraton inside of the original case. But those are probably one of the first twist to open, if not the first twist to open combs that they made, right?
The Aristocrat.
Yeah, the Aristocrat. So these are, yeah. So we'll do Aristocrats next, since this Aristocrat really is next. 1936. Jason has a 1934, which came in a different case, but basically it's the same razor. Some people know the minor variations of what is different. There is, I guess, differences on the razor, but I don't know what they are.
End caps. Just these holes and how.
Oh, the rivets.
Yeah. See the little difference between.
Yeah, that's thinner, right? Or no?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Thinner head altogether.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. I never had a 34, so there you see the difference between a 34. Besides the 34 came in a leather bound case. The 36 came in this nice gold case.
Yeah, yours is in great condition.
But yeah, there's minor differences there. Those are maybe the first twist to opens Gillette ever made, huh? Yeah, it is in pretty good shape. You would slap me if you knew what I paid for it, because I got a deal.
$3.
No, it wasn't $3. I have gotten deals like that, but not on that one. It was like $50. Still a great deal for that. So these are Aristocrats. These are like the first two Aristocrats. I don't have all of the Aristocrats. I think I sold a couple of them. So here's another Aristocrat. And this is an Aristocrat. We're kind of jumping decades here on some of these, but that's okay. So you have the 34, which was Jason's. The 36 is in the gold case. That I don't know. 40s.
46, 47 probably.
Yeah. 46, 47. This one, see, this is what I'm saying about condition. So if you look at the top, you'll see how shiny that is. So Gillette put lacquer over the gold plating back in the day. So you can tell the lacquer makes the gold like a different tint. And when the lacquer wears off, you see the actual gold. So this one has most of the lacquer still on the doors, which is very hard to find them with the lacquer intact. So condition is everything. So if you have one that's got all the lacquer or most of it in the original case and the case is in good shape, it's probably worth more money. If you find a loose one that's missing an end cap and looks like it got ran over by a dump truck, then it's probably worth about $3. Sass Shaver, late 40s, thank you. And then the last of the Aristocrats that I still have, I think, and then this is the one that everyone knows. So this is a J2, I believe, date code. So 19. This was made the year Goldfinger was made, or the year Goldfinger came out. James Bond. So I call it the James Bond Aristocrat. I got that pretty cheap. I picked it up on eBay for like $4. It's worth a lot more than that, but you can find deals. You just gotta you have to be patient and diligent to watch eBay for what you're looking for, or other places too. Marketplace, you can find deals. You don't have to pay full price for things if you have patience, but if it's one of those things like that you. Like I, for example, have almost every Gillette made the year and the quarter that I was born. So if that's something that you're searching for that's outside of just what it is, then you're probably more likely to pay a little bit more money for that. But you can find deals. You just got to look for them. I did steal that, yeah. You would be amazed at the razors in this collection that I absolutely stole. I actually did not bring my toggle with me, but that's another one that I stole for $25. Here's another one that I stole for $25. 1953 Gillette President. So this is kind of like the Aristocrat. It's more like the Diplomat, which are all similar, but Jason will point out. Jason has a Diplomat, so you can tell a Diplomat or, let me move this up just a hair. You can tell a Diplomat or a President by the knurling, and it would be here and here to denote that the knurling goes all the way through the handle, whereas an Aristocrat, this is smooth either here, or maybe sometimes both spots it'll be smooth. If it has knurling in both of those spots, it's either a President or a Diplomat. So that's
usually an Aristocrat. It's tight, tight, loose. And the President is tight, 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 knurling. And then the Diplomat, same thing, tight, tight, tight. And these two are released in the same year.
Yeah, 53, I believe. For this one's 53. Y, is that Y3 or Y4 day code or something like that anyway. But in the 50s nonetheless. And those are both in exceptional condition. So condition is everything. You can find even loose Presidents and Diplomats usually will garner a little bit more money just because they didn't make as many of them as they did the Aristocrats. As the case is minty, I got my President for $25, which was a steal for that. And then, yeah, so the President came in a green, like, what is that, like an alligator pattern type case. And then the Diplomat came in like a more regal type, diplomatic type design on the case. You'd almost imagine Kennedy shaving with one of these things or something. I don't know. It's just a cool piece to own. And they both came in clamshell cases. And then you have, so Jason has, I don't have one of these. These are very hard to find. I don't know the year on these either. Gillette Executive. So these came in a nice upper tier case with mirrors. It has a mirror, nice green felt. It has the barber pole pattern on the knurling, kind of like the Bulldog did. If you guys are familiar with the Gillette Bulldog, that's kind of where like the barber pole knurling pattern comes from. That you see in some of the new ones. It comes from the old Gillettes that had that pattern made into their knurling. And then what is that? Ostrich leather case, which is, yeah, I'm sure this rhodium plated, which I believe the President that I have might be rhodium plated as well. Those aren't nickel, like the higher end ones were done in rhodium back in the day. So rhodium is very, very shiny compared to President Executive. I have one other rhodium, and that's that. Yeah, those are fantastic pieces to have in a collection. The Executive and the President, and the Diplomat, of course. The Diplomat came in gold. And then we'll stray over to England for just a minute. For our friends on the other side of the pond over there. So this is a made in England Gillette number 58 set. This one has the leather strap that goes across the twist to open knob. You can see that there's a gap in, where's the camera? There we go. You can see that there's a gap in the handle there. And these, some of these made in England ones, as you twist to open it, the knob will go up into the handle as the doors open. So I believe that's also rhodium. I'm not 100% positive on that, but I think at least maybe the handle is rhodium. I don't know. That's how that twist to open mechanism is actually how you tell if say you have a super speed flare tip super speed, or a red tip super speed. I believe the blue tip super speed. The same thing as you twist to open it. So here's a flare tip. This is how you tell the difference if you have a regular super speed or if you have a super speed rocket. Same thing with the red tip. Sometimes you'll look and you'll see a red tip and you think it's just a red tip, but if it's a rocket, you'll see the gap, and as you twist to open it, it will move up into the handle as the silo doors open. That's how you tell. And I have both versions of the red tip so that you can see the difference next to each other. So those are, so that's a 58 set, made in England. That's a flare tip rocket. Here is a red tip rocket, and here's a regular US made red tip, so that you can see the difference. Towards, by looking at it, you may think they're the same, but if you look at the bottom, you can tell that one has the crimping ring, and the other one has the open spot for the knob to move up into the handle. So the one with the open spot for the knob to move up is made in England, makes it a rocket. That's a regular US made red tip there in the picture. Both are very cool pieces. That was on Gillette, made three different razors. You had the blue tip, which was the mild, that Angelo likes, hyper mild, which is there. And then you had the regular super speed. I didn't bring any of my US made super speeds with me, but I'm sure that anyone who has any vintage Gillettes has a super speed. I actually have a 70s one. Here we go. It's not a 50s super speed, but this is a 50s super speed black tip. So those are all super speeds, except for this one. This is a number 58 set. So those are all cool. But yeah, that's how you tell. So if you see somebody says, hey, I got a red tip rocket, that's how you tell. There'd be a gap at the bottom between the handle and the twist open knob. And the US version doesn't have that. They have the crimping ring, which would hold the handle in place while you twist open it. And then, I'm not 100% sure what this is. It's I looked it up one time and found out, but made in England, tech of some sort. It's got a thin handle. The bottom of it's flat. It's missing a lot of plating. It was definitely well loved and used from whoever I got it from, but you don't see many of them in the US, so I figured it was worth the couple bucks that I paid for it. And I think that's it for the, nope. We got one more from the 30s, and I think that's it from the older ones. Oh, here's another England one. We looked this up the other day, but I don't remember what it was.
It's Aristocrat Junior.
Yeah. Okay, so Jason's Aristocrat Junior. And this was just open. There we go. And whatever set this is, I forget the name of it. But they look the same. But the Aristocrat Junior, I believe that the handle is a little bit thicker.
Yeah, it looks pretty identical to me. Well, maybe a little difference.
So in vintage Gillettes, there was, like the U.S. ones that most of us will see here in the U.S. But Gillette also has a wide variety of different made in England Aristocrats that people just will specifically just collect those. Some people will collect just the English made ones.
Difference on the inside.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's how you, this one has the patent numbers, I think, inside, and that one's flat. So that's the Aristocrat Junior, and that's the whatever this is. I forget. It's hard to remember all the names of these and the years they were made. It's good. It's kind of like you look it up when you buy it, and then you forget. So then we're in 30s, and I think this is the last one that I have from even if we covered kind of the 40. No, we didn't. Okay. Red and black set. Gillette new common bar handle short comb. It's called the red and black set because the case is red and black. Imagine that. But this one's in pretty good condition. Most of the lacquer's still on the top cap. Plating is, I think, maybe a couple scratches in the plating somewhere from maybe a couple shaves with it or something that someone had. But I have used that. Yep, I have used that a couple times. That's when Gillette went to the Gillette, the new, or just, yeah, you can rob me, Lyle. That's
And this design is denoted by this long slot as opposed to the poles that came through in the three pole design.
Yeah, like this one, since I have it laying here. So that's when they changed from this design to the slot design. And then we are, okay, 40s still. Well, that's 30s. Here's 40s, Gillette Malord. And I think this is 40s also, the Ranger Tech. I forget what year those were made. And then these are 40s. Dig around in my box. Okay. The Techs that I have anyway. That's a Ranger Tech. I forget the year that Ranger Techs were made offhand. If anyone knows what year the Ranger Techs were made, feel free to chime in. So that Malord is it's basically like a 40 super speed. I had all the variations of the 40 super speeds, but I gave 2 of them away on the Christmas show this past Christmas. But it's basically the Malord is like a gold-plated 40 super speed. It's the same razor, just one's gold and one's not. Okay, so we have Techs, and all of these, I think. No. So these are pre-war. This one still has the paper. So this is like I guess would have been like the Army issue World War II Tech. It's got the bake plate handle, paper still on the blade, but it's all black. Case is all black. They maybe came with like camouflage blades back then, but this one doesn't have that. And then it has this one has the box that it came in. I used that once. I think I used it once on Veterans Day, maybe. But most of the Techs would have, of all the variations of Techs, would have like a metal handle. That's the version of the Tech that has the Bakelite handle, and it says Gillette on the bottom in the Gillette diamond. sometimes it's hard to see. There's other companies that made handles like that. Like I think maybe Star made one like that. But that's how you tell if it's the Gillette one. Well, the head will say Gillette on the bottom, but the bakelite handle will also say Gillette on the bottom. And here's one that's probably familiar to people who follow AKA, because Gardner just got one under my recommendation that for Amelia to get one. So there's a pre-war. So how you tell if it's pre-war is by the triangle slots in the base plate. And then here's a post-war. Gold Tech has the original price tag of 79 cents. Too bad razors don't cost that anymore. Huh? Not the good ones anyway. So this one has rectangular slots, which denotes that's made after the war, World War II. So that's how you tell if you hear someone say pre-war tech or post-war tech. That's how you tell what they're talking about. It's the channels. The rectangular channels are post-war. The triangular channels are pre-war. Angelo wants a fat handle tech. You hear that, Crystal? I'm enabling you to buy stuff. Techs are cool. I don't know if you guys follow Carve at all, but he makes some really cool reproduction fat handle tech handles out of brass and stainless steel, and they just look awesome. So if you're like Sloppy Badger and you want a modern version of the tech, you can get like a Carve head of any sort, like an Overlander or a Christopher Bradley, and then get a reproduction fat handle tech handle for it, and it looks amazing. So those are techs. We're actually not doing too bad. We got through more than I thought in an hour. And then after the tech, we'll move on to adjustables. Even though the Aristocrat earlier, the one that I like to call the James Bond Aristocrat is an adjustable. I wanted to keep that with adjustables. So here you have, everyone knows this one. There's a Fat Boy. That particular one has the original. There's two versions of the instruction manual. This is the first version of the instruction manual, which is a little more rare than the version that most people will see of the instruction manual. So there's, I had at one point like 11 Fat Boys. This is the only one I have left. I sold all of the rest of them except for one, which I gave to Angelo, which was the only other like mint one that I had. I kept the two mint ones and sold off all the rest, and then gave one of those to Angelo. So those are cool. Like that's usually like when someone starts collecting vintage Gillettes, the Fat Boy is usually the first place that they always go. And then probably an adjustable that everyone wants to see. This one is, my toggle is at home. Jason's toggle is right there. So this, if you're not familiar with the toggle, it's a butterfly open, but instead of twisting, you flip the little lever at the bottom of the handle and it opens and closes to insert or take out the blade. They're not really, like, in my opinion, not much of a different shave at all from like a Fat Boy. What's cool about it is that it's more rare, and it's just like you can just sit there and like flip it open and close all day long. It's just kind of a fun little cool piece. should I go slim or fat boy? Just get them both, dude. You're gonna anyway. Or save up all your money for a toggle. The toggles are just cool. They're, in my opinion, they're cooler to open and close than a fat boy. But yeah, it's like a fidget spinner for razor nerds. That's exactly right. So we have those. Here's like just like a basic Gillette from the 70s, which is a knack. This one's made in the USA, so it's called the knack. The ones made in England, I think, were referred to as the slim twists. Basically the same razor. Some of the slim twists will have like a flat, like whereas this handle's round and tapers down. Some of them will have like a flat oval type handle that tapers down. Those ones are in England. This one's made in the US. That's from 1975. Gillette probably made 10 million of them because they're not super valuable. So, oh, I did have one more from the 50s. So there's the England. This might be all the Gillettes that I have here. Oh no, I have one more. It's the only super speed I brought. Oh, my stomach's just growing. So they look identical, but one's made in England, one's made in the US. And I have the knack because I wanted to have one of each razor made the year I was born yeah. So J-Mac, there's a new old stock toggle on Badger and Blade right now with the COA and all the case materials for $5,700. So Jason said it sold. So the difference between this toggle that we showed, which has a date code on it, and the toggle that you're talking about on Badger and Blade, the one on Badger and Blade came in the original leather case, which these toggles, I don't believe, came in that type of case. They came in like a longer case, like my Aristocrat, Slim Aristocrat. So those have a serial number. The one on Badger and Blade has a serial number instead of a date code. Very, very rare, especially in the condition that one was in, with all of the stuff that it came with, like the price tag, instruction manual, leather case. That one that you're talking about that was on Badger and Blade is actually the one that they use on Mr. Razor. When you research that on Mr. Razor, that's the actual one from those pictures. So super rare, super rare. It's actually not even surprising that it's sold right away. So let's go back to super speeds for a minute, just because I just happened to find one. This is a TV edition, flare tip super speed. How you can tell is by the knurling pattern is different from a regular super speed. Yeah, there we go.
That's the rocket.
Oh, that's right. Well, nonetheless, if you see, if you looked at them next to each other, you would see that the knurling pattern is different on the TV special, and it came in this case that said TV on it. So, yeah, the collector's value is high on that serial toggle, but I mean, really anyone who's just buying a razor to shave with, they're not really searching for toggles anyways. There's all of the modern, or I should say most of the modern razors being made today are just probably shaved better anyways, but most of the people that are going after toggles and stuff are collectors anyways. So, and yes, the price will probably just go up because it was only like $8 when it was new, and now it's sold for $5,700. So, so here's super speeds, kind of like a super speed for the ladies. You have the Lady Gillette Starburst blue handle. That one is from 1975. It's another one of the ones that really got me into collecting because I wanted to collect. I was only going to collect the Gillettes that were made in the year and the quarter that I was born, which is quarter 2 of 1975. And then when I got all of them, then I got bored and started collecting everything else. So it's basically, it's a super speed head on a longer razor handle. It's baby blue with starburst. So this is the blue starburst. They had like 3 different colors, like a rose color, champagne color. That was it, I believe.
We found a couple of different shades of blue too.
Yeah, I think there's a couple shades of the champagne also. Maybe there's a darker blue than this one. I think. I'm not like real heavy into the Lady Gillettes though. So those are super speeds. And then I think all I have left for Gillette that's really worth looking at is these 2, which is 1975 Super 109 right here, 109 millimeter length handle, and the Super 84 millimeter handle. Both work identically the same, just one handle is longer than the other. Both of those are made V2 date code, second quarter of 1975. Yeah, $5,700 for that toggle. It's a serial toggle though. Those are, it's like the first iteration ever of a toggle had a serial number instead of a date code, and they're extremely rare. They're not only extremely rare, but they're extremely rare with the original case and paperwork and price tag. Extremely rare to find one. It may be one of only like 1 or 2 in that condition of a serial toggle. It's just amazingly rare. Like, you have no idea how rare that serial toggle in the original case with all the original paperwork is. It's just rare. So these are probably the last 2. This one was the Super 84, I believe, was stopped production earlier than the Super 109. So the Super 109 was really like the last adjustable that Gillette ever made before they really started going into their cartridge BS. So those are the last ones that I have. As far as Gillettes go, I have a couple different obscure ones that I really don't know a whole lot about, like some of these, like this Durham Dorset. I bought it because it's got this cool, like, 50s, I don't know, it just looks like something that would be outside of a theater, like, you know, like the 2 posts with the awning over the top as you go into the theater or something. It's just kind of cool looking, so I bought it. It's a crappy shaver. I highly recommend not shaving with one. Like, if you buy one, just buy it and set it on the shelf. Was the 109 still made in 1981? Yes, it was. It was made into like the mid 80s, actually, maybe even late 80s. Questions. Let's see. Ranger Tech TTO was 1941. Thank you, Lyle. Does Jason use his vintages to shave with now?
Some, not all.
Some of them, then not all of them. Do you have a red dot from Lyle? I do not have a red dot. It's also, the red dots are somewhat rare as well. So the thing about me is I have to find it for cheap. I'm not paying full price for any vintage. That's the fun for me, is finding it at a steal for most of them anyways. My wife would like to know which type of razor would be the ultimate find for your collection. That is a good question. Out of the ones that I don't have, the ultimate find, like if I walked into a garage sale and found a bottom dial Fat Boy, that would probably be my holy grail of vintage finds. So the Fat Boy, which where's that at, Jason? For people not familiar, so I think everyone has seen a Fat Boy. A lot of people have them, whether they collect or they don't collect. So the dial on a Fat Boy, and most actual, even the toggle, the dial to adjust it is up here. On a bottom dial Fat Boy, which neither Jason or I have because they're pretty valuable, the dial is at the bottom. So you'll see like the dial down here. So if you ever see something that looks like a Fat Boy, but the 1 through 5 or the 1 through, they had two different versions, 1 through 5 and a 1 through 9. You'll see that dial is at the bottom. That's a bottom dial Fat Boy. Pretty rare. They don't often come up on, toggles come up more often than bottom dial Fat Boys by a large margin. So that would be, to answer my wife's question, that would be really that or a red dot. I have most of the ones that interest me. Those ones I don't have those, but I don't want to pay, I don't want to pay for, $2,000 for a bottom dial. If I saw one at a garage sale for $50, I'd probably get it. If I saw one at a garage sale for $200, I'd probably get it, if I'm being honest. Any other questions? Do we have anything that anyone wants to see again? Otherwise, we can probably call this one good. So that's most of this was my collection. Jason's been hounding me to take it home for a few weeks now because it's in Crystal's way. She keeps tripping over it and kicking my shitty box with my valuable razors in it. So I'm going to take those home today, and then we'll maybe do this once a month. I'll come down to the razor company like on a Sunday afternoon. So the next time we'll go through, Jason has a larger collection than me, but he's got a lot of like obscure razors that most people just don't have or don't collect. Rarities, oddities. So here, yeah. So my collection is mostly Gillette. How many razors do I have? Ken Gray wants to know. At one point, I had 100. Last year, I probably sold or gave away around 15 or 20 of them for charity or for the Christmas show. I gave away a few on that. I'm actually not even sure how many razors I have. It's over 80, I know that, because I keep buying. Like, even though I've sold or gave away, most of the ones that I got rid of last year, I gave them away. So the ones that I sold last year, I sold strictly for charity. So whatever money I made off them went to charity. So I sold some and donated the money to, actually I sold a double ring. I had 2 double rings. I sold a double ring. All that money went to the Head Shavers Ball November raffle. And then I sold one when John Sloppy Badger was doing his brush that Tans made for collecting money for cancer. I sold one and donated the money from that to that. So I didn't actually sell any last year to make money on. All the money I made was given away, or I just flat out just gave the razors away. So here's a taste of the stuff that we will be looking at next time. So we have a Gibbs. That's an actual Gibbs, not a heritage reproduction of a Gibbs. Those aren't real common. When you see them, they kind of go for a little bit of money. So we can talk about the Gibbs. We may need, if somebody in the audience has extensive knowledge about like Gibbs and obscure razors. Otherwise, we'll just kind of wing it and let you know just what we know about it. So then we have King Oscillator. Again, I don't know a whole lot about these, so
yeah, this razor was made with the idea that as you shaved, these would roll down your cheek. I'm bumping the camera. And
so, okay.
It would oscillate the blade back and forth. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so it would just kind of move the blade as you're shaving, which sounds like an accident waiting to happen if I'm being honest. And then nice. This is actually a nice presentation of. If you guys have ever seen the wind-up Stolly, you wind up the handle and it vibrates as you shave. That's actually an exceptional presentation case of that. Almost looks like the one that would be sitting on the shelf to entice you into buying it. Yeah. If you can,
vibrates.
I can hear it, but I don't know if you guys can hear it. Oh, maybe we can get it to vibrate on the table. Let's move this. There you go. So it vibrates as you shave. Probably, you know, a lot of these, like, they were trying to come up with gimmicks. I would think they were coming up with gimmicks to try and you know, defeat the big bad Gillette, who was, you know, kind of had the market cornered on razors. So, but you know, cool piece nonetheless. And then these, I don't know what they are. Jason will let you know.
Yeah. So J-Mac will appreciate this one. This was a Merkur made for WEC, private labeled for WEC.
Nice.
So it's early, I think 50s Merkur, but made for the hair shaver company WEC. I just had never seen one, so I picked that up. This is an Apollo. I don't know a whole lot about it. Early slant.
It's got a cool Art Deco design on the handle.
Yeah, this is, I think the Paradigm razors took inspiration from this handle, which is, I guess, one of the reasons I picked it up. But it's when Paradigm started producing razors, they took inspiration from this particular handle.
Yeah, as far as like when I'm looking at, just for stuff that I want to keep in a collection, I'm more so like if it's a rare Gillette that I don't have or haven't had, I'll look for stuff like that, or I'll look for stuff that like you don't see every day, like that Apollo. Jason usually finds those before I do.
And look at this monster. Giant Clifton razor compared to the Style Live Blade.
If you thought the Style was a big razor, that thing takes the cake. That thing is huge. Yeah. So we'll delve into. So like I said at the beginning, if you weren't here at the beginning, I don't know if DK is here. I haven't been paying attention to really most of the comments, but we want to do an episode just on injectors. So it'd be cool to, you know, Jason will probably get a hold of DK and see if he's interested in doing an injector show. We might be able to do one on gems. I don't know how many different versions of gems there is. But if there's like a specific brand that, you know, maybe someone in the audience has a lot of knowledge or collection of, it would be cool to do, you know, have guests come in and show off their collection, talk about what they have, because there's only so many times that people want to see the stuff that comes out of Jason and I's shitty old boxes. So if you have a collection that's even a small collection that's stuff that you don't see every day, or stuff that's in just exceptional condition, or rarities, gimmicks, anything. If you have a collection that's you know, worth showing off, then feel free to come on and talk about what you got, share some knowledge. I always feel like you know, you can only get so far with asking guys like me or Matt Pisarzik or Jason about vintage razors. There's so much more information out there that it would be cool just if everyone would share and give people ideas on stuff that you know, they may want to look for and add to their collection and shave with. TRC razor cleaner is only $4.99. That's right. I saw the infomercial and it worked because I bought mine the next day. So thank you, Sloppy. One cool thing, just because it's sitting here in a box that I got. Actually, I have. I can do this one too, maybe. What is this? Yeah. So this is. I don't know a lot about these either. So this is an Ever Ready, ER, Ever Ready. It's a lather catch they call it. So as you would shave, the lather would catch inside this channel. This one is it's a little janky. There's like a thing on the bottom here that comes out if you have a pair of pliers or something. I'm not going to monkey with it though, but these old lather catchers are cool, just kind of sitting there. People use them. You can actually, there's a, I think it's Frugal Shave on Etsy. He makes shims where you can use the shim and just use a gem blade without doing anything weird to it. Some of these old ones you have to like pry the spine off of an old gem to be able to use it, but they're cool looking nonetheless. So that's an ever ready. I don't think this one's, I mean, really valuable. You can probably find these for like $20 on eBay. One that's maybe a little more valuable is this Star. So this is a Star Campy Brothers. This is another one that probably had something in the bottom similar to the Ever Ready one that I can't get out. I think Jason actually has one though. So these are just cool looking. Open it up. Lather catch. They're called lather catchers. So if you Google or if you go on to eBay and just type in lather catcher, like some of these will pop up. So these old Campy ones are can be rare. This one actually like holds the blade in, like it has this. There's like a lever here that's on like spring. Get up there. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how these actually function.
Yeah, you slide the blade in from the back, and it goes under the clips on the front, and then you flip this up, and it holds it in place.
This one doesn't have a clip though. It's got this thing.
Let's see.
So I'm guessing you put the blade in, maybe slide that up, and it goes behind it, and it's kind of spring loaded. I have no idea.
No, it looks like it looks like it.
I don't know a whole lot about lather catchers either. I just think they look cool. Depending on the version of lather catcher, they can go well over 100. That is, that's for sure. Like if you have one of these Star Campy Brother lather catchers, like Jason has in the original litho tin tube, they can go for a lot of money. These lather catchers, these Ever Ready ones, are fairly cheap. The old gem, you can sometimes see like an old gem one go for well over $100 on eBay. The old lather cat would have like a wood handle. Those are pretty valuable. These Campy Star ones are pretty valuable. But the lather catchers, they kind of just look cool. They do have, yeah, so let me see. Here's those little tins. Oh, here it is. So yeah, those would come with proprietary blades.
So yeah, see how you slide the blade in, and then you raise that little lever up, and it locks it in place.
Yeah. So Jason has a proprietary blade placed into his, but I have a couple old litho tins with proprietary blades. That's like kind of what they would come in. I don't think that any of the blades that I have are, maybe if they were honed up by somebody that knows what they're doing, but if you take it out of the tin, there's one blade on each side. Some of them look pretty rusty, but it's cool to have it with the razor. The one that Jason has, of course, has everything that you need to have with it. The handle extension and the little, what is that?
Strapping.
Yeah, the strapping.
You load the blade in here, and then put it on the handle, and you can strap it.
Yeah. Very cool. So I always thought that like somebody who likes straight razors, like strapping straight razors and honing straight razors, it would be cool for them to get into like a lather catcher, just because you know, if you found the old blades, pretty much the same maintenance required for those blades, although I don't know if they would hone the same way. Like, I'm sure, like, if you know how to hone, then it wouldn't be hard to figure out. But yeah, so those are cool old pieces. Those probably predate any Gillettes that are out there. Some of those are from the 1800s. Yeah, very cool. Very cool old pieces. Put these in the box. And it's, all right, we have one question. Jason, does your family wet shave?
All of them.
All of them do.
Every one of them. Both my daughters and my wife.
All of them.
Both my brothers. Yeah. Everybody. Try and get everybody into it.
My brother, also a head shaver. He used to shave his head with DE, but he temporarily he's got a bad shoulder, so it's hard for him to shave his head without pain in his shoulder. So he went back to. I'm gonna probably end up getting him like a leaf or something to make it easier, but he can't DE shave just because of the, you know, the dexterity and stuff that's involved. It hurts his shoulder too much. So, but my wife does also. My son doesn't. He has no desire to do anything that's. He shaves occasionally, but you know, he's 21. So, but I think everyone here, like most of their family, at least most of their family, wet shaves. All of Jason's. I know Crystal's here. Her whole family wet shaves, and most of the people. My daughter's not old enough yet, but one day I'll talk my son into it and get him on the right road. But Jason actually bought him or not bought him. I came in and it was my son's birthday, and Jason sent home a starter kit for him. But my son rarely even shaves, so he has scruff most of the time. So that's it for today's episode. So we'll do this like me and Jason were talking about, maybe once a month, and maybe we can highlight different. Jason, what razor do the girls use? Kim Gray wants to know.
They started with Edwin Jaggers with pink handles and blue handles, and then they moved to the leaf and the twig. So now they all use the leaf and the twig.
Yeah, leaf and twig. So that's most of my collection. I do have some injectors and stuff, but I'd like to wait and see if we can get DK on to just do a whole show about injectors, which I think would be cool. I think everyone should have an injector razor.
What does the audience think, though? Are these worth doing? Bringing vintage razors out and doing these episodes? I don't know if it...
Yeah, very adequate. Thank you, Peter. Adequate. It's a mediocre collection. It is mediocre collection compared to some of the ones that I see. Like, you'd be amazed at some of the like new old stock collections that some of these guys have that are worth probably $25,000. But great live, good info. After Jet, thanks, Lyle. Chris Jet Maneuver says yes, it was awesome. Kim Gray says yeah, it was incredible. DJ, fun, I liked it. AA Shaving, keep doing it. Trevor, yes, awesome. My wife, I love it. Thank you. I love you too. Indeed, need uppies. Angelo, I'll give you uppies when I see you next. Awesome. So we'll keep doing this once a month until we run out of ideas. If anyone has a collection of older stuff that they want to come on and highlight, I know AA Shaving, I know he collects vintage razors and enjoys them. So if you have a collection that you'd like to show off, even if it's a smaller one that you want to show off and talk about, Kim Gray would love to see straights. We can do that too. I don't know anything about those, but we can maybe have like Lyle or you know, someone that knows a lot about straights to come on. Did you cover Gillette today? We covered most Gillette, but if you have a collection of Gillettes, we haven't even really dabbled into Jason's Gillette collection. So whatever you have, yeah. If you want to come on, we'll do this like once a month on a Sunday. afternoon, and then we'll do one that's like injectors. Like I said, we'll try and do that. We'll try and do straight razors. I'll just kind of just be here for that because I don't know anything about those. But if you have a lot of knowledge about straights, that would be cool for you to come on and share your knowledge. And I can just sit here and learn and look beautiful for you. If you have a collection of Gillettes, even we covered a lot of like my Gillettes, but it's not all of them. So if you have a collection of Gillettes, feel free to send a message and ask to come on, and we'll make it happen. We'll do this. We'll figure it out. We don't necessarily need to set a schedule, but we'll do it like roughly once a month. We'll come on and we'll talk about different stuff. Hey, it's Jason and I both. That's like really, we both have modern stuff. Obviously, Jason has anything at the stretch of an arm in this place, but that's really like Jason and I, where we really initially clicked when I came in here and started talking to him, is that we both, that's really what got us into this hobby and lifestyle, hashtag lifestyle, as Jason says. That's really what got us here is our passion for finding the old stuff. We both really are hunters for that stuff. We like finding the obscure, like Jason will send me a message with 5 razors that he just picked up, and then I'll do the same to him like a week later. Hey, check out this double ring that I picked up for $10, and it's fun though. That's why Jason and I hit it off originally, because both our passions for vintage stuff. So if there's no other questions, I'll end it, and then if you have any questions that you think of, feel free to send a message to myself or Jason, and we'll do our best to answer it. If you'd like to be on and show off your collection, send Jason a message and we'll set it up for sure. But otherwise, I'll see you, whenever I'm on the live next. Who knows when that'll be? Maybe shave holes or something. I don't know. But I'll see you next time. And if you got any questions, feel free to ask. Until then, bye.